go ahead and hit that like button and subscribe now. It really helps us with getting our video seen by other people who might be able to find some value out of this and to reach out to more golf fans. So we really appreciate that. What's up, Birdie Up? Happy New Year. It's Eric here, and in this video I wanted to take you through the Sony Open in Hawaii preview for this weekend. It's a new season of golf, so we're going to be breaking down the tournaments from week to week and take you through a little bit about the course, the past champions. We're also going to be including the one and done selections for the tournament that's being held at GupsCorner.com this season. It's kind of like Survivor for golf. And lastly, I'm going to give you a few tournament picks for this weekend's tournament. So, without further ado, let's get into it. So just like I explained in the intro, this video is going over the Sony Open in Hawaii, the one and done picks, and as well as some DFS tournament picks. Please go ahead and subscribe now and hit that like button and hit the notification bell for future videos, as we're going to try to do weekly videos with going over our one and done picks and some DFS tournament picks for you guys. So let's just get right into it. This first, the course preview. We're at the Waialae Country Club in Honolulu, Hawaii for the Hawaii Swing. A very beautiful course. It opened in 1927 and it was designed by Seth Rayner. This course is interesting because it's actually much shorter than the course just last weekend, the tournament that was played, the Century Tournament of Champions. It's only 7,044 yards. It features Bermuda grass, fairways and greens, which is native to Hawaii. It features wide fairways, and then also is going to be battling well, it's known for trade winds, but then specifically this week, we'll get into it a little bit more. It's going to be battling some heavy wind and weather. It's a par 70, so we get the typical 4 par 3s, 12 par 4s, but then only 2 par 5s, which means that there's going to be less opportunities for eagles and the par 5s, where the pros make up so many shots each from week to week. Typically though, this course has been a bit of a birdie fest, which we like. Very entertaining to watch guys go low, but this week it's projected that the winning score won't be as low this week. So gonna have to do better on the par 3s and the par 4s, not being able to rely so much on the par 5s, although they are very gettable for all of these guys. Another interesting tip, an interesting fact about the tournament is that the front and the back nines are played in reverse during the tournament. So that way, they'll be playing the back nine starting on hole number 10, and then they'll be making the turn starting on hole number 1 for their back nine. And they can the cool thing about this tournament is it'll be on TV late in the day for many of us here in the States, and be able to see the amazing views and the sunset as the tournament is wrapping up. So I did mention a little bit about the weather concerns for this week. And this is just a snippet of the 10-day forecast. So leading up into the tournament right now, we don't have any rain, but that rain is expected to hit by Thursday, and we are going to have to wait and see kind of what the course conditions are going to turn out to be. And as I mentioned earlier about the wind being a factor here, it's going to be a factor throughout the tournament. So this weekend at the Tournament of Champions in the final round, they actually had to play lift, clean, and place. And I'm curious to see what the conditions are going to be like for the Sony Open this weekend. If it's going to affect these guys, or if it's going to be maybe off and on, and a little bit of just that Hawaii rain. So very interesting to take into account. If the greens are going to be softer, the fairways aren't going to roll out quite as much or at all, and how they're going to be able to contend with the wind, and if they're going to play through the rain or not. The last 5 champions who played here at the Sony Open were Matt Kuchar last year, 2019, finished with a 4-day total of 258 or 22 under par, and he won by 4 strokes. Patton Kizzire in 2018, also another tall guy, and then he finished 13th last year, finished with a 4-day total of 263 or minus 17. Justin Thomas, a winner last weekend at the Tournament of Champions, and also is a former champion here at the Sony Open. In 2017, he shot a 4-day total of 253 or 27 under par. 4th in the world golf ranking right now currently, and the most expensive and highest expected owned golfer this week for the Sony Open. People are riding him off of his win going into the Sony. Fabian Gomez in 2016 finished with a 4-day total of 260 or 20 under. Currently, the Argentinian is 229 in the world ranking and finished 57th last year in the Sony Open. And lastly, Jimmy Walker, who was a repeat champion in 2014, shot a 4-day total of 263, 17 under, and 2015, 4-day total of 257 or 23 under. Oklahoma native, and he finished 51st last year, 237th currently in the world golf ranking. Now I just wanted to show you the top 10 leaderboard from the 2019 Sony Open, and just to show you some of the names that are featured on this top 10 list. And later it's going to go into explaining some of the strategy behind who we're thinking for our one and done picks, and then also for our DFS tournament plays. So we know Matt Kuchar won last season, and then Andrew Putnam, a Washington native, finished second, 49th currently in the world golf ranking, and a very consistent player, is actually on a streak of 13 straight made cuts. Or Mark Leishman, a Australian, currently 28 in the world golf rankings, did not play last weekend. And then Hudson Swafford, who is coming off of a foot injury, currently 429th in the world golf rankings. Then Ches Reavie, Kansas native, Arizona State grad, the champion last year at the Travelers Championship, and that was his first win in 11 years' time. Corey Connors, Canadian, he's had a good fall season, currently 58th in the world golf rankings. Davis Love III, he's not in the field this week. The three-time major winner. Surprising to see in this top 10. But then again, it's always nice to see when these guys will still pop up and play and compete. Next, Brian Stewart, a Michigan native, plays a ton, currently 132nd in the world golf ranking. Charles Howell III, Georgia native, Oklahoma State grad, very likable player this weekend, and currently 57th in the world golf rankings. Sebastian Munoz, the Colombian, was the champion at the Sanderson Farms tournament. Currently ranked 100th in the world golf rankings. Sung Kang, the South Korean, the winner at the AT&T Byron Nelson Championship, currently 84th in the world golf ranking. And lastly, Bryson DeChambeau, not in the field this week, currently 15th in the world golf rankings, the winner on the President's Cup, the 5-time winner, not in the field this week. But just wanted to show you to see that we don't have to go with the maybe necessarily top guys to still be able to get some value and not burn one of our picks in the Sony Open for the one and done. So getting to the one and done, one and done is a season-long survival pool pick tournament that the goal for it is to add up your season-long money totals that you pick on each golfer each week. The trick is, though, that once you pick a golfer, you cannot use them anymore for the rest of the season. So strategy comes into play of when you want to use some of the top golfers in the world golf rankings, at which tournaments, based on how big the purses are. You select one main selection and then one alternate selection each week. This is the first tournament of the year, 1 out of 36, and the season is broken down into 4 different segments with 9 tournaments each segment. And then also there is a 5th segment which cherry picks the top tournaments throughout the season, all the World Golf Championship events and the majors. So for this weekend, this week's tournament, the Sony Open, the keys to success are going to be to look for ball strikers, golfers who are excel in their second shot or strokes gains approach, someone who is a Bermuda putter, and someone who's had some recent form. Usually we like to jump on guys who have played in the Century Tournament of Champions the week prior. So Patrick Reed is actually going to be our alternate selection for this weekend. He was the runner-up last week, getting bested by Justin Thomas in the playoff. He's a Texas native, the Northern Trust champ from this past season, and he's coming into really good form right now. And I think that a lot of people are going to be using him because of his good finish at the Tournament of Champions. So I'd like to keep him in my back pocket. Potentially, I could still use him at a major this year or maybe another bigger event. But just in case something happens to my main selection, I have him in my back pocket, ready to start. Which, if something happens to your main selection, they withdraw during the first round, or something happens to them, then your alternate kicks in. And I don't think it happened to me at all once last season that the alternate was needed to be used, but these things do happen. My main selection for this week is going to be one of the young guns on tour, Colin Morikawa. He won the Barracuda Championship, the Stableford event, last year, and he's a Cal grad. Finished top 10 last week at the Tournament of Champions, and he's got currently a streak of 15 straight cuts made, and currently 55th in the world golf rankings. So Colin Morikawa, a top player. He's in recent good form, and not a big name, but he could do some damage this weekend, and still allows me to save a lot of the good players for maybe some of the bigger purse tournaments. And lastly, just to wrap up the video, I wanted to give you guys some of my DFS tournament picks for this weekend. So with the tournament picks, we're typically going for a balanced lineup, guys who go overlooked in the mid-range because there are maybe some other hot names in the mid-range or the top end that people prefer, and still have a chance to do really well. So the first one is, we're going to go with Matt Kuchar, the 2009 champion. His projected ownership is only 11.80% right now, and this is Draftkings pricing and ownership. His price is 9.9K, and is currently going off at 20-1 odds to win this thing. He won the tournament by 4 strokes last year, and he's one of the more consistent guys out there, and he likes to get started early, his season off to a good start. So I think that Matt Kuchar is a good tournament pick. The second tournament pick that we're going to go with is Kevin Kisner, the South Carolina native, the Georgia University grad. His projected ownership is coming in at 11.50% at a price of 8.7K. His odds of winning are 40-1. He won the WGC Match Play Championship and currently is 33rd in the world golf rankings. He also had back-to-back top 5s in 2016 and 2017 here at the Sony Open. And last but not least, our third tournament pick is Andrew Putnam, the Washington native, finished second last year, as I mentioned earlier. He is got a current projected ownership of only 10.3% and is priced at 8K and has 60-1 odds going off for this event. He's currently 49th in the world golf ranking and has been playing very consistent, as he has a streak of 13 straight made cuts. So Matt Kuchar, Kevin Kisner, and Andrew Putnam are the 3 tournament picks for the Sony Open this week. So thanks so much, you guys, for watching this Sony Open Hawaii video, the one and done picks and the DFS tournament picks. Please hit that like button, subscribe for future videos, hit the notification bell so you're notified every time a new video comes out. I'm going to be doing new videos weekly, and hope that you follow along, and hope that you have good success in your one and done and in your DFS contest this week. So thank you so much again for watching, and we'll see you next time. Birdie up.